to when it comes to the forecast of Hurricane Irma. Glenn, when is the next track coming out?
They're coming out hourly now,
okay.
But really most of those are not track adjustments. Hold on one second, Mike. I'm just getting a flash flood warning for St. Lucie County until 5:15 a.m. Fort Pierce has just gotten a tremendous amount of rainfall in the past 3 hours. We're getting reports of completely flooded roadways, US 1 and Orange Avenue. Also reports of a home that has now been flooded in the Fort Pierce area. So there's a lot going on, and we're going to see more and more of this throughout the day as Irma continues to move up to the north. It has, if you're just waking up with us now, the storm has lifted north of Cuba and is headed for Key West as a Category 4 hurricane, and it could strengthen even more as it continues to move to the north. Now, the earlier forecast, the 11 p.m. discussion, which is one of the major updates for the storm. There'll be another big one coming out at 5 a.m. this morning. That had the storm staying as a Category 3 hurricane all the way as it moved up to the north. But obviously, Irma has done whatever it's wanted to do here, and it's been fluctuating in strength quite a bit as we've been covering it. At times it was a Category 5, then a Category 4, then back to a Category 5. So this storm headed for Key West and should be there pretty close to 8 o'clock this morning. As a Category 3 to Category 4 hurricane, there's some indications there's some wind shear that's coming in, and that may weaken it a little bit, but not much. Staying a major hurricane as it moves up, either making landfall or very close to Fort Pierce. The storm surge here could be absolutely catastrophic as this moves up toward Fort Myers, rather. Fort Myers, by the way, floods extremely easily, and we've had reports in the past, and there are people that we've spoken to in the Fort Myers area that have told us that storm surge can go 10, 15 miles inland, even more than that. I know if we get a storm surge here, we're pretty flat and the water can come inland, but not as much as in Fort Myers. As we go up toward Tampa here, we could see possible landfall in the Tampa-St. Pete area by late tonight, early tomorrow morning. But then look at this acceleration as it gets up to the north here, moving up near the Florida Panhandle by early tomorrow morning, all the way up by Monday night over toward Alabama and through Georgia and up all the way toward Kentucky and Tennessee by the time we get to Wednesday. So that's the light at the end of the tunnel, is that this is moving very quickly. Once it gets up close to Florida, it's going to accelerate up to the north. Computer models in good agreement that this is the final track for Irma, right up very close to or right over the west coast of Florida, and then heading up eventually through Georgia and over off to the northwest here. Let's talk a little bit about winds. There are several different computer models that we're looking at this morning that are estimating wind speeds for our area as Irma moves from south to north. This is the American model, and I believe Felicia showed the European model. Those are two of the most reliable computer models that we use to forecast these systems. So here's what the American model thinks as far as wind speed in our area as we move through the day today. Starting this morning with wind speeds, these are just gusts, by the way. I should say these are wind gusts. So how high, I guess we could see. Possibly over 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Boca by the time we get to 6, 7 o'clock this morning. 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible all along the coast here. 39-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Vero Beach. That's the threshold for tropical storm force winds. 39 miles per hour. 48-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible around Lake Okeechobee by later on this morning. This is a possibility because Miami is now reporting at Miami International Airport wind gusts above 60 miles per hour as the storm continues to accelerate to the north. So here's 8:30 this morning. Wind gusts continue to pick up, possibly 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts or more in Boca, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible along the coast there, 41 in Vero, 59-mile-per-hour wind gusts around the lake. And then look what happens around lunchtime today and just past that as the storm continues to push to the north. We could see wind gusts 85 plus in Boca. Close to 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts along the coast here, close to 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts inland around Lake Okeechobee, and then as the eye starts to move up very close to the coast during the late afternoon and evening hours near Fort Myers. Look at these potential wind gusts above 100 miles per hour. According to this computer model, around Lake Okeechobee, we could see 80 to 90 mile per hour wind gusts along the coast. The storm continues to move to the north during the evening hours. This is 3:30 in the morning tomorrow morning, and the storm, you see the eye over here. So that's starting to move up to the north. These wind gusts start to calm down, but still very, very gusty winds. And even by late morning Monday, as the storm starts to move to the northwest of our viewing area, we stay windy. Now things will start to calm down by Monday afternoon. Rainfall will start to clear up as the storm lifts to the north. And it looks like a pretty calm night Monday and a pretty nice day on Tuesday. We've got a tornado watch in yellow here for our entire viewing area, all the way down to Miami, the Florida Keys, all the way back over toward Fort Myers here. There's a lot of twisting in these rain bands as they move on shore. So the tornado risk is high. It's enhanced today, according to the Storm Prediction Center. We had a slew of tornado warnings overnight last night. Steve Weigel and James Whelan were here covering those. These storms are fast movers in these rain bands here. It's a lot of rainfall and thunderstorms embedded in that. They're moving at about 37 miles per hour. So if a tornado warning pops up, we'll track that cell for you. But just remember how fast those are moving. So fast. Usually the tornado warnings are really quick. We have a tornado warning for this short amount of time for this little area, and then it's moved on. So we have to be on top of it, which we will be throughout the day today. Here's a look at the heavy rainfall. It continues to come down in Fort Pierce and Vero Beach. Stewart has been getting some heavy rain. If we look at some totals here, these are estimated rainfall totals. Could be anywhere from almost 8 inches. Look at that. There's 8 inches right there, just north of Sunland Gardens. 7.3, 6.9 around Fort Pierce, 6.4, 6.6, 5.8 inches of rain. This is all just within the last few hours. We've seen this heavy rainfall coming in. Nettles Island with really heavy rainfall. Heritage Ridge getting some rain. Look at this, from Jupiter Island down to Jupiter, down to Ballin Isles. That's a pretty good sized thunderstorm embedded in that rainfall there. So if you're not hearing it already, you're going to start to hear some big time thunder in Stewart at 3:47 there, 3:35 at Heritage Ridge. Within the next 4 or 5 minutes here, you're really going to start to hear it. This big cell here accelerating inland around Delray Beach. That's on the move too. It should be in there pretty soon. Boynton Beach too by 3:39, and around Coral Sky Amphitheater at about 3:55 as it stays on this track up to the northwest. So in the legend here, if you look at 8 to 12 inches of rain, that's orange and yellow. And you can see that in here. Look at that orange along the coast there. Lots of yellow here. So we're talking the potential of over a foot of rainfall, and some locations could receive up to 15 inches of rain or more in isolated locations as we continue through the day today and overnight tonight. Vipercast shows the rainfall. You see the spotty yellows and oranges here. That's where there's heavier rain and the potential for thunderstorms. Look what happens as we get to around 8:15, 9 o'clock this morning. Look at these solid yellows and oranges as the storm lifts to the north. That's a lot of thunderstorm activity lifting up through the area. There's 12:30 this afternoon. There's a lot going on as we move through the day today. That's 3:45 this afternoon. So we have a long day ahead of us of very active weather. We'll be sending everything out on social media. We'll be doing it here on the air. I have a feeling we'll be tracking a lot of different cells for everyone throughout the day today. And we'll be talking about quite a bit of flooding across our area as well, on and off throughout the day. Ashley and Mike?
Yeah, I want to ask a specific question,
Sure.
Glenn, about wind gusts. Now, when maybe somebody's new to a hurricane or hasn't really been through one like this, when we're talking about wind gusts, is that, usually a timed interval like the rain bands? You can kind of see them coming across whoosh or whatever time frame in between. But talk about wind gusts, how long they could last, how long in between.
Well, wind gusts are really brief. When you feel them coming, it's just a gust of wind, but it's recorded. Sustained winds are longer periods of time where you have a minute or so of a certain wind speed. But the wind gusts will be short, but they could do some damage really quickly. But the sustained winds could be tropical storm force winds as we continue through most of the day today, and that's 39 to 73 miles per hour. So we could see sustained winds in that range through the day, and then the wind gusts would be even higher than that, up to 70, up to 80 miles per hour, or more than that around Lake Okeechobee. It may only last a few seconds, but it can do some damage in just a few seconds.
Yeah, I think that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Just helping people understand it. So, just because it's one type of wind 1 second, it could be very, very high.
Yeah, I
the
think
next.
we've all been walking around at one point and suddenly a wind gust hits us and we're like, whoa,
Right.
that was a heavy wind gust. That's nothing like what we could see today. The kind of wind gusts we could see today could knock you off your feet pretty fast.
We're here to ask the questions a lot of people want to ask this morning.
Yeah, sure.
That
Ask
they're
away.
not sure of,
Ask away.
Thank you, Glenn. We
Sure.
really do appreciate it. All right. So